I'll never forget the first time I walked into a room. I'll never forget it. I've shared this with many people, and we laugh. One of the girls had just brought her a shake from the juice place down the street. And when I walked in, she insisted that I try it. I insisted that I cannot, as an employee, be drinking out of a patient's cup. Guess who won? Yeah, you all know her. Yeah, I ended up tasting the shake. I don't tell that at the hospital, so don't anybody go tell that at the hospital. But that's Gail. You knew her, I knew her that way. From that time through her last hospital visit and infusion visit, I talked with her, and I would say from my perspective at least, that she became my friend. She was always concerned about her family and her friends and the difficulties that they were going through. We would sit and just talk. We talked about life. We talked about what she had done, what she still wanted to do. But as time went on, she realized that she was not going to get everything finished as she had planned. She came to recognize the theme of life. As the author of Ecclesiastes states it this way, there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. There is a time to be born and a time to die. There is a time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. There's time to weep and there's a time to laugh. There's a time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. There is a time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. Gail came to realize that there was a time for everything. From the beginning of our lives to the very end, there is that time. There are times in our lives when we tend to think that time revolves around us. And then in moments like this, it can seem as if time has stopped. But time will go on. There'll be future events in our lives that will mark that passage of time. New babies being born, graduations, marriages, all of these will mark time in this life. But in the end, there is always death. There is a time for that. As we go along on this journey of life, it will bring us those unexpected moments. And moments like this that we expect, but just not now. Death comes many times in such a way unexpected. Life is so fleeting, and even though we number it in years, the length of our lives are just a moment in the vast history and the future of time. Death, along with other circumstances of life, come at you very quickly and without regard as to who you are. You can analyze, you can evaluate as to whether life is fair. But you will make a choice as to how you are going to respond. Are you going to be better because of what you have learned and what you have experienced? Or will you turn bitter because of the situation? If you have already made a turn that you wish you had not, you can change that attitude today, talking to you. Because you have time, you're still living. Much of the time we run through life so fast that we never stop to see the roses, let alone smell them. We only notice the rose when we actually realize that we've been stuck by the thorn. Why is it that for many of us we are bleeding and hurt before we slow down and pay attention? So I say, slow down, enjoy each other, and the beautiful things around us. Because simply if we are aware of what and who is around us, we will see the thorns before the pain. I want to challenge all of you who are listening with a poem that you might have heard. It's called The Dash. It goes like this. I read of a man who stood to speak at a funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on her tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came her date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that she spent alive on this earth. And now only those who loved her know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters most is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left, because it can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel, be less quick to anger, show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect, and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when eulogy's being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things that they say about how we spend our dash? The question we have today is, what is the dash? You see, the dash is real life. That's real life. What we have lived between birth and death. What is life all about? I propose 3 questions that you must answer to know what life is. Who am I? Where am I going? And why am I here? When you have answered those, then you know what life is all about. We can be fatalistic and we can just wait and sit around and wait until death approaches our door. Or we can make a difference. Cancer is a cruel disease. It sucks. But there's a good side. Put that in quotes. Good side. It generally gives us time to reminisce about old times. It gives us time to plan for the future. It gives us time to tie up loose ends. It gives us time to tell someone that you love them. It gives us time to restore relationships and make amends. If there is a good side, that would be it. In other words, it forces us to slow down, just like a thorn. I know that for many of you, this has caused you to slow down, make trips that you would not have made, sit beside the bed and talk. It has caused you to sit back and reflect upon what is important. If Gail was standing here today, she would be saying this: do not let my death stop you. Keep doing the right thing the way you have been taught. Don't wait until the end of your life to see and smell the roses. No one knew when the time for Gail's dash here on this earth was to be over. Sitting here today, listen to me, I can say nothing else for Gail. But I can tell you that you must answer those 3 questions for yourself. No one can decide for you. Who are you? Where are you going? Why are you here? This is the time for you to decide to move forward, and there will be a void within your hearts. But the dash for Gail is finished, but all of you are still in that dash. So what are you going to do with it? Gail has left an impact upon each of us. One of the things that I'll never forget when we were talking is that deep, throaty laugh that Gail had. I just know I just thoroughly enjoyed it. As Ray and I were talking back there, he said yes. He said that's one of the things he misses. When they would be sitting side by side watching TV, both of them on their computers, looking at something and laughing. That laugh. If you've heard it, you know what I'm talking about. See, Gail has had an influence upon each of us. And does it make a difference? One of the things that Cindy shared with me in the back there, and I'm going to read just a passage of scripture that she said Gail and her had looked at a couple or 3 years ago. But this somehow describes Gail. It's in the book of Ruth, and it says, Ruth is replying, don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me. In that story, it is talking about a lady who was very, very strong in who she was and what she wanted to do. That was Gail. I never saw Gail when she was healthy. I only saw her after she was in the hospital and fighting for her life for the last 2 or 3 years. But I saw a very, very strong woman. Even in her weakest moments, even in those times when she would bare her very soul to me, I saw someone who was determined and very strong. So in my brief interaction with her, I know you have had those kind of interactions with her also. What she has taught you, what she has displayed, let that be a lesson. Let that be part of your experience of making you a better